And now the best things in life, they come in threes apparently, because this is going to be our third time at trying this. Hopefully everything is fixed now. We found out that Shogun had accidentally chewed through one of the wires that was connected to the headset.
There was no accident about it.
Apologies for that. We do apologise, but we're going to do a very quick recap just so we make sure that you're all up to speed on exactly how things are going to be going tonight on the Universal Open, of course, brought to you by 7-Eleven and Briss. So let's have a look at the format, run you through that one more time before we do get into the action. Here you can see it on the left-hand side, all of the action we're going to be bringing you from here in London. The East qualifier, the North-East qualifier, Central and West for North America. And of course, at the bottom there, Europe will be fighting out for those top 4 spots to progress into that grand final. The American guys, they've got to work a little bit harder. They've got to go through those regional finals. Washington, D.C., New York, Chicago, and San Francisco before getting into that live grand final double elimination tournament, like we mentioned, in Stanford. 8 teams, August 24th to 28th. That is exactly the dates to put in your diary. Now, let's give you a quick brisk bracket update from the action that we had yesterday and show you exactly how the land lies at the moment. You can see it's all about the elimination games today. We're going to be focusing on the lower bracket. So we're going to have Splice going up against Weiss, Full Metal Gaming taking on USF Bulls, Birds and Bees taking on JLo, and Dinglebell, not Dingleberry, like I said yesterday, taking on Titanium Squash. So they are our matches that we're going to be looking at across the board today. But let's have a look at the matches for tonight. Let's see if we can give you a little idea of exactly what we're going to be bringing you on the broadcast. But just before that actually comes up, gentlemen, anything that's jumping out for you there, just as we have these games come up?
I really want to see the Full Metal Gaming one that we're starting off with, just because they took Space Station to 5 games yesterday, and I really want to see how well they were actually playing to take a team like Space Station all the way to 5 games. So I'm curious how far they go.
You can see our first game today is going to be that game.
Exactly.
So you've got to be pretty excited about that, right?
Yes.
Just calm down, Achieves. I can see he's literally like losing it right now. So Shogun, obviously you're a little bit, you know, peckish because you were chewing through wires.
Yes.
You know, admit that to the camera. Say, sorry everybody at home who was looking forward to some Rocket League and being on time. I made a mistake.
Sorry, everybody at home who was looking forward to Rocket League. I made no mistake at all.
I knew that.
I knew
I
every
thought
part.
just for a second there we were going to get it.
You thought
Just
you
a
were going to
drip.
get a sincere apology from me.
Yeah.
The Mega Shogun. Nuh-uh.
I never thought it was going to happen. But, you know, we
Big
have to try
misplay.
these
You
things.
tried.
Maybe
Big
by
misplay.
the end of the qualifiers, we might get something out of you. Just a
No,
little
by the end
bit
of the qualifiers, that entire
some
cable is
sort of-
going to be gone.
some sort of human emotion.
I'm going
coming
to go
out
from
is what I'm looking
chewing
for.
to just gobbling, okay?
Okay, fair enough. Well, let's talk about our teams in match number 1. Obviously, you're very excited about this one. Of course, we've got
Yes.
Full Metal Bulls. Now, what can you tell us about these two teams? Because there's not too much information out there about them. We're pretty excited to see how these guys perform, right?
Yeah, I mean, that you kind of hit the nail on the head. While we may not know too much about who these guys really are, it's like USF probably going to be one of the collegiate teams, obviously, who's on there. I've got this magic sheet that tells me everything about this team. It's Philip and Peculiar for the USF Bulls, and the names look slightly familiar, but I don't remember how they really played in CRL or even if they made the finals. But same thing, really, for Full Metal Gaming. It's Huncho and Chronic, 2 people we've never heard of, but, you know, they have to be obviously pretty good to take Space Station all the way to 5 games, so kind of leading their way just off the bat.
And what about you, Shogun? Obviously, a great opportunity here for some of the guys that, you know, don't have too much of a reputation behind them to build that reputation here on this broadcast.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it yesterday in the case of a lot of the things we do. We see ones tournaments, we see freeze tournaments. This is the only time we ever get to see 2s tournaments, and it's also the most played game mode that we have out of anything out there. So a lot of times, it's a skill set that these players have been developing for a very long time that they haven't been able to showcase. So there's a huge possibility for some players to really step up in a way that we haven't seen before.
Well, one thing that we need to mention to you guys at home before we do get into our first match, of course, is the Dual Force Player of the Match. Now, also known as the 7-Eleven moment, you're probably wondering exactly why that is, and it's because it will be awarded to the first player who scores 7 goals and nails 11 saves as well. We didn't manage to get it yesterday, but we're thinking we've got some closer games today, gentlemen, aren't we? So that might well happen. And now, one other thing we need to make you aware of, on a slightly more serious note, is the fight against hunger that we're going to be participating in during these broadcasts. Our fantastic sponsors over at Soylent will be providing 10 meals for every single goal that is scored during these qualifiers, and obviously it's a fantastic cause. They'll be donated to the World Food Programme over in the USA, and you can get involved too. Head over to wfpusa.org/
Universal Open.
Universal Open. I love doing that to people, just keeping them on their toes. That's why we've got achieved here. So a fantastic cause. And yesterday we managed to get 740 meals. I mean, you know, round of applause to all the players that were involved in that. 740 meals in the fight against hunger over in North America. A fantastic cause to be supported by our fantastic sponsor, Soylent. So, gentlemen, we're pretty close to getting into game number 1. Let's bring this back to the Rocket League now. We've talked about these two teams a little bit. Let's talk about the fact that these are now elimination games. You know, the pressure is upped a little bit from that being in that upper bracket. It's pretty much now win or go home. How does that change the mentality of the players in this one?
I don't know. I think they've with a day gap between it. I kind of don't think there's too much of a worry behind it, other than okay, you don't have any more lives to lose, obviously. But considering the opposition that a lot of these teams had to play in day number 1, I think they kind of were well prepared for that eventuality.
I kind of have to go the opposite way on that one. I believe that there's a lot of these players that we're seeing that are sort of less experienced, and those are going to be the main ones that we're sort of showcasing today. If you're an experienced player, yes, they'll be able to just bounce back and play exactly the regular sort of style that they want to, but I feel like we're going to see, especially from these ones that we're less aware of, much more plain Rocket League, much more long clears, because they just don't want that danger to be around them.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly possible, but it's like I don't think that them being an elimination is going to be the problem. I would say that.
Well, here we go. Game number 1 of the day is about to get underway. It's going to be Full Metal Gaming taking on USF Bulls. So over to you, gentlemen. It's Achieves and Shogun.
Thank you very much, Axel. Oh, wow.
Oh, nailed it.
Oh, that one was a bit...
Oh, you guys can't see it. Onset's just going to get up and leave. He can't believe it's been done to him.
He's done with it. That one was definitely a bit of vocal memory of some sort.
It's almost like familiarity.
It is. It's very much familiarity. Don't worry, if I call him Tom Deacon, then we really know we've got some problems. Wait, USF Bulls and FMG trying to bounce back after being dropped down to the lower bracket yesterday, as we did mention earlier on. It is all to play for. Any losses will result in them being dropped from the tournament and not being able to move on to claim their portion of that $100,000 prize. There's going to be an early shot from Peculiar, 1-0, and the Bulls will be very happy to see that.
Yeah, and it all gets set up by this really aggressive push, but that big demo on the midfielder adds the rotating out of that blue half, opens that door wide open. Peculiar, I mean, that's a pretty vanilla play, just, put the ball in the net. It's always the easy ones that are the hardest, so well on you to start off the elimination day with a good shot.
I expect these games to be a lot closer to what we saw towards the bottom half of yesterday's stream. That is going to be a big miss, though. And I'll tell you what, out of ways that you could drop a 1-goal lead, that's not how you'd want it to happen.
I would definitely agree.
I mean, it was impressive. Good leapfrog. Outside of that, though...
Very accomplished hopscotch Rocket League player.
Any game mode could come out at any point, okay? I'm just saying,
if
that happens, that man right there is the future of Hopscotch Rocket League.
That's the secret unveiling that we didn't get at LAN. Hopscotch Rocket League. And now I'm disappointed that we actually don't have
Modders, get on that right now.
Yes.
Philip, trying to find himself a ball, but will be immediately taken away. And Peculiar gets hit after just taking that ball to the other end of the pitch. Huncho, out for blood, it seems. A little bit too much time. This is going to be a big thing you notice from the higher level players. They, rather than wait for the best opportunity to come towards them, they create the best opportunity out of the situation that is already there. That you need to play for the speed first, and then you need to play the best thing you can around that. As you can see, the offensive pressure going towards the orange side, but now Chronic has got a 1v1, but how long is that going to be a 1v1 for?
Just long enough. Just long enough is right. Chronic had just a little bit of space to work with here. Peculiar's figuring out how much boost he has, if he can turn around, and these are all these things that are running through your head, and eventually has to tap the brakes, makes a decision. Chronic spots that slight weakness out behind him. Well-placed ball into the back of the net.
I feel like that was just a non-decision on the defense. You need to start figuring out when you want to go and challenge, because as soon as Chronic got the far side of the ball, he can cut that whenever he wants to. Heck, he might even not have to. He can just bounce off the backboard and send it to a teammate. Way too many options opened up. And the Bulls, ever since taking the lead, really starting to struggle, but now they can pounce on the other end of the pitch. Philip, up the wall. Just going to try and drop this one straight down. A teammate will not be able to get to that. No way does he want to overcommit towards that one. So we're going to stay 2-1. Peculiar to the corner. Chronic's got plenty of time. He's got plenty of boost, and he decides to hit that one with plenty of power.
I was kind of just watching Philip there. Kind of surprised he didn't take a little bit more time back on his own half and really let Peculiar get all the way back on defense. And now it's going to be a bit of a scramble. Net's open, and Chronic's going to find it again. A lot of open nets on both teams.
Yeah, I'm not really too sure what's happening right now on the orange side defense. It's just an inability to read the game, I might say, sort of seeing what's right in front of them and saying, okay, we might have more time than we really think we do. No, that's not the case right now. Full Metal Gaming are happy to punish these situations. And it was a very bright spot for the USF Bulls, but ever since then, it's just a couple of very silly mistakes.
Yeah,
and this might be adding to the pile. Another shot straight down the middle. Peculiar, just there in time. Huncho, 4-1.
Oh,
Could do something big, but that's that big commitment. And Peculiar not only gets a goal into the back of the net to make this a one-goal game, but there's yet another 10 meals over to Cherry.
And that's the real winner right there. Some super aggressive challenging coming out of the midfield, though. You've already got a 2-goal lead. You only have to hang on for 2 more minutes. That's definitely one you got to look at and say, no, I can't afford to challenge that. If I miss it, it's a free goal, and they're right back in it.
Now we've got 2 minutes. Much closer game now. USF Bulls, I believe, really needs to cut out the mistakes. I think most of these goals so far have come from mistakes, apart from a somewhat decent dribble that we saw earlier on. And even that was given too much space. FMG will not want to overcommit like they did last time. They had a 2-goal lead. Got a little bit greedy trying to search for number 3. Peculiar. Over the top of 2. Chronic forced the backflip. If he can keep this one going, suddenly an opportunity could arise.
Ooh.
Philip too close though. Huncho forcing the challenge. Now Philip pushing to the side. 0 boost here. Will not be able to follow up. His teammate already starting to rotate back. Minute and 15. Chronic ball on the hood. Won't be able to cut that one to the side, but still using whip. Huncho wants to go for this. It could be risky, but right down the middle. Philip to the under of the pitch. Pushes it to the corner. Can go for a ceiling setup. But instead, a little bit too late to that one.
Again, I'm not really the biggest fan of how aggressively FMG are taking these balls coming off of the orange back wall. Just, yeah, they made it back that time, but it is leaving the door slightly ajar. And at this point, you kind of got to lock down.
It's one big clear away.
Exactly.
Now to the side, 40 seconds. USF Bulls trying to find that one goal that could force overtime. Options infield. Philip can get there.
Oh, is it through?
Nice block. Huncho's got to do well with this because the danger is still around. Double tap attempted. Never going to be able to get too much power. Drops back out.
It's going to waste a lot of time.
Chronic just clears the lines.
It's just going to waste a lot of time as well. Only 15 seconds for maybe 2 more shots at most.
Any mistake, though, could be the ball in the back of the net. Early challenge. Too central. This is the reason why I say you've got to put your car wide. Very difficult to react. Chronic looking to try and set up one more. As soon as this ball touches the floor, it will be game over. No. Philip can carry. But just a backflip. A panicked dribble attempt.
He had no boost. I went and looked at his car, and he hit it, and he saw it go forward, and he gave up on it, and he was sad.
How are you, Axet?
Wow.
Are you feeling okay?
Gonna rub that one in?
I'm committing.
Yeah.
I mean, I can if you like.
Cool, all right.
But I mean, to be fair, I like him.
You know,
so.
this is your chance. I know you wouldn't give us an apology over for essentially trying to sabotage.
I will apologize for that.
The broadcast, but look down the camera. Look down the camera right now, Shogun.
No, I want to do this better. I want to look at you.
Okay.
Because I'm apologizing. I don't need to apologize.
All right.
I need to look at you on set. I'm severely sorry for what I did there. It was unacceptable.
Don't worry about it. Axetos is a fantastic man, and I've got no problem with his name being used instead of mine. So anyway, Shogun, an interesting first game, 3-2. Most importantly, 5 goals were obviously put in the bag as well, which means 50 more meals going over to the World Food Programme, thanks to our fantastic sponsors over at Soylent, which is something that we should talk about. But one moment in there was just a perfect example of something you guys were talking about yesterday, not having that third man rotation. And if you don't quite get it right, the breakaway goal can be such a huge part of twos.
Yeah, there was a lot of over-aggression. But I did like the bumps that we saw out of the USF team early on in that game. There were a lot of demos as they rotated out of the backfield. Kind of slowed down later on in the game, but I'd kind of like to see that come back, because I know when K-Dop and Fairy Peak were going on that twos tear, that was a big thing that they were both really good at. It was just demoing out of the backfield. It was really good. It's a good strategy, so I'd like to see more of it.
It was a very close game. I mean, there was some major mistakes at times. I mean, usually at this point we like to say what a team could do better. Maybe hit the ball rather than jumping over it. That would be pretty solid. However, I think I've seen quite enough there to say that USF Bulls can make this a serious game. we have ourselves number 2 achieves. What are you thinking here? Is this going to be a 3-0, or can we see ourselves a couple of games on the board?
Is it going to be 3-0? I don't know. I feel like FMG was too aggressive to not at least give 1 over to USF. If they keep up that same level of aggression, I think you're at least seeing 4, maybe even 5. And there's another perfect example of it. They go for a challenge that they're beat to here on the sidewall. You're going to see it on the replay. It's that touch off the sidewall. Huncho's a little bit too slow. Just doesn't read that he's already beat and gives up the ball.
Well, you did say there was a possibility of them handing over a game. Starting off this match whilst handing over a goal. 1-0 USF Bulls. They started pretty well last time. They need to continue it this time around. As you can see the boost pick up. Peculiar able to take a hold of the ball. And most of the time that the ball goes towards your side. Could do better, Peculiar! He couldn't do much better with that one if he tried.
Couldn't do much better. And he had the boost, so they actually totally knew he had the boost. It's why he had to jump at it. That's great recognition from Peculiar. Because you always have to sort of decide as that second man back, do they actually have boost, or are they just following behind the ball, hoping that they don't have it?
They just saw him pick up boost from the
Exactly,
kickoff.
and that's why it mattered so much. Had to respect that high option.
Well, now suddenly USF Bulls look like a completely different team. Doing incredibly well off the offensive, and we now need to see them on the defense, but if it's up to them, they'd rather not do that whatsoever. Chronic taking the ball on top of his hood, wants to try and go infield, but instead it's going to be over to Huncho. Bump attempt is going to be found, but
I went for that demo
too far to the side. Yes, if you ever see someone just sort of running wildly in a direction that doesn't quite make sense, assume they're probably going to go for a demo. 2v1 for the time being. Huncho over to the side.
Tough play to
finally
make
getting
here.
back. It's going to come all the way out, but that's a lovely touch. Takes it out of the path of Chronic.
Yeah, he had to read that tough bounce off the back wall. It's kind of one of those awkward ones. You're not sure if it's going to come straight back to you or cut a little bit to the right. Got a little bit too far under that dribble, though. Has to give up possession. Needs a little help from Philip. They're going to reset here on offense. Hopefully they can get things going back in the midfield here, though.
Full Metal Gaming, the pace has just not quite been there so far. They're already aware that Bulls have got a few mistakes in them. But if you're not forcing any pace, it's giving them more time to set up and to really make a correct decision as to how they're going to approach the defense. Can't really get those mistakes out of them. I would love to see Full Metal Gaming just to really up the pace, see what they can force, and maybe a couple of really powerful shots off that backboard, which we're going to see to start us right now, but that is a tap away from Philip. Still, both players committed. That does mean FMG can keep the offensive going.
But this is really the first chance that USF has had to clear this ball. That was a pretty decent stretch of time that Full Metal were in command there for a second. And they have another big chance here. If they keep stringing together some longer possessions like they did just a few moments ago, then they have a pretty decent chance of coming back. 2.5 minutes is plenty of time, and that one so close to getting it. It will get the job done. Off the back wall, Huncho's there. It's 1-2.
Yeah, but you just can't afford to set up those 2v1 situations. Once again, used incredibly well, Chronic. But he's got multiple options there, really. He can take the shot himself, he can go for the bait above the backboard, or he can just pass it laterally over to Huncho. Unfortunately, if you're the defender, you've got to make a decision there. 2 of them are wrong, 1 of them are right. And unfortunately, the odds are against you.
I really want to make a Hunger Games joke, but I'm going to let that one go.
Well, USF Bulls will be hoping that they do not let this game go from their grasp. Had a 2-0 lead. It's been dropped down to 2-1. Still 2 minutes remaining in this matchup. Chronic. Not too much there. I'd love to see Huncho moving earlier. Now Philip up high. They really want to re-establish that 2-goal lead off the backboard. Peculiar still going. This could set up that 2v1.
Wow.
Pinches could go to the other end of the field. Just about going to miss, but the follow-up is there for Chronic. Peculiar out of the way nice and early. Huncho didn't got the wall with that. Has to try and force a block. Now Chronic is all the way back. He's still got the ball going towards him.
Oh,
that backboard yet again. Peculiar, he's going to struggle with this one, but shot was right into his body.
And Chronic knew that he had to do that one himself. He knew Huncho didn't have a lot of boost to work with. And still, again, you're starting to see FMG really string together some longer possessions. Of course, as I say that, stolen off the hood and up high in front of the blue net.
Huncho clears. 90 seconds now. As Philip goes across field, looks for the shot. Oh, I don't know if that was a shot attempt or a pass attempt. Either way, right down the middle. Now Chronic with another clear. This should be
Free.
all tied up. USF Bulls committing too hard when they simply didn't need to.
Yeah, exactly. It's both teams are taking turns making the same mistake, really. It's just like, oh, we're beat to this ball. I'm going to go challenge it. And they're both kind of doing that. And it's something you absolutely cannot afford to do, especially in an elimination game like this.
USF Bulls making a bit of a habit of making sure they lose
Oh,
the kickoff,
right
but
back.
they re-establish their lead. Who needs defense?
It's overrated. Defense is a crutch. Chronic gives up on that ball, goes for boost. Huncho's left in a one-on-one, and he makes a wheel. Just cuts right around to try and shut that dribble down early. The problem is, it was way too much space between him and the attacker when he decided to make that move. He needs to bait him in a little bit further before he really tries to go for it.
Oh, the attempt to fake it out early.
Does he get it?
He got noticed immediately, but Chronic! He's come closer to scoring on his own net than he did the orange one, unfortunately for him. 1 minute now. Full Metal Gaming have done so much work to get this game back in their favor. They've dropped it back down to a 1-goal lead over to USF Bulls once again. They've got no one around to challenge. A long clear. Expect to see plenty of those now from the USF Bulls. They just try and kill the momentum. Chronic has the option. Huncho is that option. Off the crossbar.
They gave away.
2v1 now. Actually, just be Philip taking it by himself. Might have just set up Peculiar. Do not expect them to overcommit again. There is no way they would make that mistake yet another time.
And even better yet, they decided to just ignore the ball and demo the guy who's going to follow that ball out. Wastes a couple precious seconds off the clock, and not a lot of time left here for FMG.
I mean, the last throw of the dice. But it could be going over to the USF Bulls.
Not a lot of boost to work with between either of them. It's going to be tough.
It's all down to Huncho. Wants to set it up to Chronic.
Oh,
Shot is there, but it's not on time. Double tap! Just slipped through his fingers. What a game 2, lads.
I'm so sad. I actually really wanted that OT because they had between them a total of 70 boosts to work with 2 players on no time left, and I'm really sad that that one didn't find its way into the back. But either way, USF, I get the only thing that really leads them to victory there in that game number 2 is they made fewer mistakes. It was just a little less double commit, a little more limiting of the options. FMG didn't get a lot of offense going. They had a couple of brief stints here and there, but other than that, nothing super threatening.
Tied up at 1-1 then, gentlemen. Tied up at 1-1. You can see some of the replays from that game, and for me, the highlight had to be the air dribble coming in from Peculiar. That was a fantastic goal.
Came out of absolutely nowhere, really. For the goals that we have been seeing so far, they've been a lot more basic than, well, that was just a thing of beauty. I'll tell you what, if it stays this close, not only do we have the possibility of seeing our first on-broadcast 5-game series, but maybe, just maybe, we can see someone nail those 7 goals and 11 saves.
I think that's a very good point, and that's something we're definitely keep an eye out for. Of course, Chiefs, what were your thoughts on that game?
Math. You can see
Yeah,
the
that's
hamster
well,
is
like,
doing it in there.
We cut back just as he was sort of mid-calculation. I mean, we learned yesterday that all of us struggle. Let's be honest.
I have to think really
with that.
hard when I do math on camera. Otherwise, I'll just get it wrong anyway. But what do I think? I mean, I think both teams just really got to limit the double commits. That's the big thing. That it's giving way too many free goals to the opposition. You take away the double commit goals on that, that's a 1-0 game.
Well, game number 3 looks like we're about to get underway as well. That's loading in the background, but tied up at 1-1, Shogun. I'm excited. As you say, this is elimination today. You know, this is win this or go home. So as soon as one of these teams loses, they're out of the tournament completely. It's still all on the line. It's tied up at 1-1. Gentlemen, back over to you.
I think the main thing right now is sorting out the consistency. We've seen the peaks of both teams so far. I've got to say, I believe so far USF Bulls have got the higher peak out of the 2 teams, but it's that consistency. How often can you do it? How often can you make sure that you are not making defensive mistakes? Peculiar wants to keep that going. Instead, he's going to be left by himself. 7 boosts.
Ooh,
An
nice
unnecessary
touch.
commit there from Philip. And Chronic, he wants absolutely
the
nothing
net.
with this. I don't think he's made the correct decision, but gets the save. Either way, they are stuck in a defense that they don't need to be in at this point in time. Now Philip takes that ball for himself. Gets the challenge.
Oh, no.
That is going to be an own goal achieved. You hate to see this kind of thing happen.
I absolutely do. It's just so unfortunate because he makes it. He's not doing anything wrong. He's grabbing the boost and rotating back to net. Unfortunately, the challenge from his teammate a little bit too directed towards the side and catches a bad part of the car and right back into him. There's not too much you can do other than that. But if you're USF, you tip your cap and say, "We'll take those, thank you."
Chronic. Just one good strike away from leveling it almost immediately after the goal. He'll be by himself. Peculiar won't be able to try and follow up, but Philip on the far side.
1-on-1.
Chronic takes it underneath.
Oh, you almost got him.
Close.
We saw that attempted a couple of times yesterday with a little less precision. He had the angle to cut the ball left, so it was good.
Peculiar. Drop down. Philip now wants to try and get around. Peculiar now. Might have the option infield. In fact, just tries to fake the ball out.
Oh, does he have the touch?
Philip now there. Off the backboard. How much they want to go for this? Not enough.
They don't have the boost. They have to leave this ball.
Philip has stole some boost over on the side. I think everyone's pretty low right now, apart from Philip. Peculiar keeping the ball up. Huncho on 0. Just tries to fake out the idea that maybe he had something to Philip, who just tried to win the ball outright, and it was the correct decision to go for. Some mind games working out incredibly well.
Very well done from FMG to battle in this. One's down in front. Chronic gets home and muscles that one into the top left. Well played from FMG to finally get out of that defense and, more importantly, drive down the field in a couple of touches and put one into the back of the net.
Got to be really critical of that touch, though, from Peculiar. Any option was better than just flicking into the air for the opponent. Could have tried to play backwards, could have just taken it on his hood, and attempted to maybe just run past the offense that was in front of him.
Just force the challenge. I'd like to do that.
Dude, something that isn't giving the ball away for free.
Yeah, it's honestly not as bad an option as people think, is just forcing a challenge. This one's going to be free if he's right there. He's trying to take his time, maybe a little bit too much.
It's that hesitation I was telling you about earlier on, Achieves. Some of these guys, the main focus might just turn over to not conceding rather than picking up a goal, especially now that we see the game at 1 goal apiece. Haven't really seen too much of it because we've seen goals being scored pretty early so far.
He can't get it.
Off the backboard.
Nice bump.
We're seeing so many opportunities coming from this. However, the post will be the savior this time around. Peculiar, ball on hood, 0 boost to his name. He's still done well from this. Getting the challenge, going to unleash Philip on the far side. Philip, I think, just wants to try and set up time for Peculiar to get a hold of some boost, but that pass out will not be close enough to his teammate. Now Peculiar, taking the complicated route out, only finds himself towards the halfway line. But now Philip's shot should be saved by Chronic.
Oh no, not again!
Into his own net yet again. If that one went in, you got to start feeling there was some sort of force of nature against Full Metal Gaming.
It's like, look, if you want to win this, you're not allowed to play any defense at all. Peculiar flirting with disaster as well, but well under control. Philip's just waiting, says, hit me up with a pass, big boy, and that's a rocket off the back wall to himself, and it's 2-1.
Didn't hit the first one correctly, but did hit the second. USF Bulls re-establishing their lead. And they've just got 101 seconds left for the match. And they can put themselves on match point.
And those were a lot of passes that we saw yesterday, especially in that upper 90 versus Splice matchup. Got to learn to read when that infield pass is coming. You see that wide cutout from the attacker.
Yeah, it's definitely a case of just look right in front of you, always right down the middle. No one who is waiting for their teammate to try and take the ball solo is going to sit laterally with them.
Unless they're going for the sweet bot pinch.
I'm not thinking that's possible, but you know what? I can't wait to be proven wrong on that. Huncho. Looking for that backboard. It's going to come off loose. So many opportunities created off the backboard again. And finally, Chronic will score the goal.
I actually don't really mind Huncho not putting this one in. Obviously, he would have liked to, but he did have to make this reaction. And he had sort of this decision. I can either try and get the goal or just make it as easy as possible for someone behind me. Because you know that the first miss on the defense is going to take a little bit to get back into the net. So I don't mind him trying to do too much. Just get the touch, make it as easy as possible, and they convert it.
These two teams incredibly even so far. Currently even in both games. Won and score in this particular game. Philip, backboard. Everyone seems to be struggling with the backboard so far. However, it has been USF Bulls struggling significantly more so far. Philip to the corner. I have an outfield pass, but that's well done by Chronic. He would love to have some, but you can see the desperation for just a little bit of boost.
That's always the worst feeling. Oh, and they drop the flick, too.
Out to the corner. Chronic finds himself a little bit too far wide. Was able to get there for a tap. Now Philip
double commit.
Definitely wanted anything other than to turn around for that.
Nice challenge from Honcho. He's got a teammate back in the midfield line. He's trying to do too much here. He just should have passed it back, and now they're just going to give up the ball for free. Not a fan of that play.
Next goal will win from the looks of it. Chronic flicks up. Huncho to the side. Chronic wants to go by himself. Gets the block. Now Huncho wants to keep this one going, but that should hit the floor. Overtime. And I believe this might be for the first time on broadcast.
First one on broadcast, indeed. Actually getting ever closer to the 7-11 moment. A couple of players with 4 goals already. This one down in front. Chronic breakaway, and Huncho for free. make that his 4th goal on the day as well. 12 seconds in OT, game number 3.
Well, as overtimes go, it won't rank up there with the legendary ones. But
Now, here's the question. What do you define as legendary? What's a legendary OT?
triple flip reset, double tap off the backboard, teamwork, coast to coast. I've got low expectations.
Want to throw like a wave dash in there
Well,
too?
to be fair, most of my ranked teammates expect me to do that all the time, so why can't I keep my...
Hey, what's an analyst?
I
don't know.
I was just waiting for the moment that I thought. I'm actually quite proud of you, to be honest with you. There, I thought you were going to drop the whole Grand Champ thing in there just again, just as you started talking about rank.
Thank you for bringing
up.
up.
Segue into that one. But speaking of segues, let's have a look at some of the replays from the last game, gentlemen. As Full Metal Gaming, they go off in the series.
Just barely too.
Yeah, it's once again, it's those double commits. You got to really take your chances. You got to really sort of see when the correct time is to double commit, because you can double commit. There is nothing wrong with a cheeky double commit, but it's got to go right. You've got to score off it because you've got nobody back to help you. If you don't score off the double commit, you will be scored upon.
Yes.
I mean,
It's
pretty simple, yeah.
This is an axiom of Rocket League, yes.
We saw it from Germany earlier today. If you've got nobody back in defense,
Nothing goes
goal.
well.
or in goal,
Manuel.
Yeah, it's a little bit easy to score upon.
A little bit. But at the end of the day, FMG still come out with a win on top, and they did have to stop a couple of tough plays. They need to stop the infield passes, because if they go on into that next round, into day number 3, they're going to be dealing a lot of that with any team they play, and maybe not even things well beyond infield passes. They're going to have to start dealing with, crazy double touches off the back wall and stuff like that. So work cut out for them, and they still have to get one more match. Or game, not match, sorry.
Yeah, go get one more game under their belts. However, we are very close to those 7-11
Yeah.
goals. How close are we to that? Have
It's
you been
pretty
able to
close.
keep up?
Chronic has 4 goals, Huncho has 4 goals, Peculiar has 4 goals. So if any of them gets a hat trick here in game 4,
Okay, well, at least have the goal side sorted. I'm not too sure on the saves at this
I
moment in
imagine
time.
they've got the saves.
Well, it's going to be another one for Chronic.
Oh,
He's actually got 2 out of that one, so he's even closer. Very good man there.
he also dodged an own goal in that game number 3 as well.
I don't really think Full Metal Gaming would like to see any more own goals at this point in time.
It's
They'd
just
like to
it's
see
made
some
that
of
game
this as Huncho over the top. They went for the race. Huncho was faster. 1-0 to Full Metal Gaming.
And a nice couple of challenges here from Chronic, getting well behind the center of the ball there. And just pushing that ball out to the right-hand side. Very well done.
FMG starting off exactly how they mean to continue. Now Chronic can take it the entire length of the pitch. Another shot on target. Huncho this time. Wants to save out Peculiar. He wants to go the entire length of the pitch himself, but the halfway line held incredibly well there by FMG. Peculiar taps that one straight down. It's going to go to Huncho. Might just open up some space for Philip to take advantage of. He doesn't want to keep going, but he goes underneath. A nutmeg of the highest variety from Philip. Just take a look at the skill on display here. Takes his time, forces the pre-jump, and the smallest of all small gaps he takes advantage of.
Exploitation, and that's what a lot of what we see from the pros yesterday is you take what the opposition gives you, and Philip did a textbook job of that right there. Oh, he almost got the bump too. That would have been nice.
Predator missile was incoming. Unfortunately, couldn't hit anybody. Now they've got to find a way of playing this one out. I think there's very few boosts on the side of FMG. Philip could take advantage. Double commit though, but the lack of boost means that there will be no immediate counterattack. USF Bulls, they have made that mistake a few times. However, this time around, they will not be caught for it. But now Chronic goes for the shot. Not quite there. Played back out. Huncho wants to go for the turnaround. Peculiar back out to Philip. On the wall. Huncho happily see that one away after Peculiar was already rotating back. Did not want to see any of that ball.
Free ball here for FMG. I was about to say, I'm curious what they do with it, and they'll just, give it right back. Yeah.
There's a lot more long balls right now.
You said they'd do it, and that has been exactly the case.
Something that could prove a detractor later on in the tournament. However, both these teams, considering they're both doing it,
Free goal.
not really too much of a problem, but Hunt's just going to go in. I actually thought for a second there that Huncho was going to miss it.
Okay, so Peculiar's over on the blue side. Phillips out grabbing boost. How did they get so tied up on defense that one player is on the complete opposite end?
there never really seemed like a moment where it was that desperate or that needy to send your second player for it. You can just buy for time. FMG, the only time they're looking at right now is that 2 minutes and 50 remaining on the clock. Chronic wants to try and create some magic, and he's done exactly that. 2 minutes 45 remaining, 3 goals to 1. FMG could be looking at the next round.
Here's the best part.
He didn't have it.
He didn't have it.
But he could have.
That's the best part. It's just like you give yourself. It's pretty much the exact same thing that we saw out of who shot it earlier. Peculiar did that air dribble earlier. It's just like you force the opposition to respect the option, and he dove at it because he's expecting him to touch that ball, and he didn't have it, and unfortunately just lets it go right over his head.
And this becomes a very dangerous moment for USF Bulls. They're 2 goals behind. It means they're going to have to really commit on the offense, something that has found them caught plenty of times. That's going to be a long ball.
Oh my gosh, it's
Could that go the entire length? No! Just saved at the final second by Huncho. Well, I do get the feeling that there's a possibility they could drop that 3rd goal just by overcommitting, trying to find a way back into this match.
Well, either way, you'd hope FMG, if they get gifted a few more free balls on their own half, they don't just launch them away into the opposition side and give USF free chances on offense.
No, take that ball under the dribble, force the challenge. That wastes way more time than a long clear does. Peculiar, up the wall.
Oh, he wants another one.
It's going to be much more difficult this time around. The threat of it going towards the net, just not quite there. You have to have that ability just to say, okay, this shot touch that I took first is going straight in, and that one will be going straight in. Chronic putting on a scoring masterclass.
Yeah, poor read here from Peculiar. He doesn't get a lot of boost, and he takes that hard cut out towards the corner because he's got ball cam on, obviously, and Chronic kind of comes out of his blind spot. He doesn't see him until after it's way too late to go and get that one. Just gives up the free goal, and just that's a lack of field awareness. You really got to know the situation there.
Shot will go high. Just over 90 seconds remaining. USF Bulls have got to do so much work. It started so brightly for them. But now they've just got to find some way of scraping and clawing their way back into this match. They've played out one player. Philip has got to turn much quicker than that, however. Huncho, 0 boost. He's not going to be too worried about that right now. Just wants to waste as much time as possible. Shot will not come in. Force clear from Philip. This is the last position USF Bulls want to see right now. Oh, I've just been proven incorrect. That was the one thing they didn't want to see right now.
I said they had to get a hat trick. Chronic has done just that, so he's at least at the 7-goal mark on the series for the Dual Force Player of the Match, and he's got pretty good odds. It's just a matter of, did they put enough shots his way?
Considering the dominance they've had, I actually believe that that could be a little bit of a negatory. They have been just on point throughout game number 4.
Another one? Nah, it's too high. And wide.
50 seconds remaining. Peculiar takes it above. Infield pass is available. Does take it, and there's going to be Chronic. That is a savior medal for him. And there's the follow-up shot. This time Huncho pulling that one up high.
Oh, what a tap.
Trying to look for that 6th goal. FMG. Definitely going to be a landmine for whoever has got to take them on in the next round. Peculiar. All the way back out.
And it is just a nice cruise to victory at this point now for FMG. They've done all the hard work here in Game 4. Phillips trying to get one more, and Huncho's just saying, get out of my house. They're just walking to the finish line as Chronic blasts another one at the net. So well played to FMG. They battled through some really early series awkward defensive double commit situations. Struggled a little bit stopping a couple of passes in the mid games, and then their game number 4, that was just domination. They got a couple of really good plays. I think they had 3, maybe even 4 unassisted out of their 5 goals. So yeah, 4 completely unassisted. So really well done. Yeah,
and on set we saw throughout that game just some of the more basic strategies that we see in 2's Rocket League, just taking those dribbles, getting off the backboard. If a team does not know how to defend the backboard, that is lethal at this level. That will get you caught time and time again.
Well, fantastic performance coming in there from Full Metal Gaming, but probably the most competitive series that we've seen so far, to be honest with you. Both teams really did try and give as good as they got in that one. I do have a little bit of an update for you guys at home as well. Unfortunately, we were talking about how many strings to the bow that J-Lo has yesterday, right? We were saying, you know,
yes,
acting, singing, dancing, maybe, questionable. Unfortunately, one of the thing that she doesn't do well is be a good name for a Rocket League team, because unfortunately they weren't able to make it to their match today. So they're going to be eliminated. Birds and Bees will be moving through and staying alive in the tournament at the moment. So JLo will be knocked out, unfortunately, along with USF Bulls that we just saw there, which is it's a sad moment.
That
isn't
actually
it? It's
does
a
make me
sad
incredibly
moment.
sad. Because you asked me what teams I wanted to see play yesterday, and I said JLo. I really want to see how J-Bob and Lotech do. And you sitting here telling me that they aren't going to show up is just like...
Single tier. I'm sorry, look, I cross streams. It's what I do best. Actually, do you know what? That's a lie. You do that best.
What is with the shogi bullying today?
It's not dude, you didn't even call me the right name. Don't you have got nothing to go by today. You've got nothing. I've got that for the rest of this broadcast.
I want sympathy from everyone watching.
Hey,
Well,
nice shirt,
if you want to show Shogun some sympathy, use the hashtag UOS2 and send him your love. But let's be honest, he doesn't really deserve it. But anyway, if you do want to get involved, of course, with the conversation, then join us. We'll try and get some of your tweets featured on stream as well. But we got pretty close to the Dual Force player of the match there as well.
Yeah, Chronic definitely put up 7 goals. I'm just not sure how many saves he got because, you know, keeping track of saves is way out of my league. That's too many numbers, and I can't count that high. As a music major, I guess I can count that high. Only I ever learned to count to 12. That's the joke I always tell people. So
it was very close. I'm just hearing in my ear right now. It was actually 10 saves, one off.
And they were allowing a lot of defense towards the end of that.
Yeah, I mean, we got pretty close, to be honest with you there. We got very, we could smell it.
Okay, so here's the tips we're giving right now. No mercy.
Yeah.
But
save the ball.
Some mercy.
Enough mercy to force some defense. Yeah. Good luck trying to toe that line.
That's a very fine tightrope to walk, Shogun.
They'll do it. Just blast long balls.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Okay, so what we just seen there from Full Metal Gaming, I mean, how far do you think they can progress in this tournament? You know, they did show some individual ability. We saw some impressive individual plays from them as well. But, you know, what's maybe going to be their shortcomings looking forward? And as I say, how far do you think they can go?
Depends who they play in the next round. If they're on Splices half of the bracket, I think they're out. I don't think you can afford that many defensive miscues like you did early on in the series and set yourself in a hole early on and only a best of 5. It's not best of 7. You don't have a lot of room for error.
Yeah, I think depending on who they've got next round, I think they're 1 win away from potentially going out. It's just not quite there. The inability to really see what players coming up, they're sort of reacting to rather than predicting what is going to happen around them, which you just can't afford to do at this level. But there was an incredible base to build upon. I'm really looking forward to seeing where they go from here.
Indeed.
Well, one of the things that was obviously very good and something we need to remind you guys at home of is, of course, one of our fantastic sponsors, Soylent, who will be donating 10 meals to the World Food Program over in the USA for every single goal that is scored during these broadcasts. Now, I believe we might have had 21 goals. I know you keep it 21 goals. We're going to go with 21 goals. That equates to 210 meals for the hungry over in the USA. If you want to get involved, of course, you can head over to wfpusa.org/
Universal Open.
Oh,
sorry,
come on,
sorry.
James. I thought you had it there. / Universal Open. And you can get involved with what is a fantastic cause. So, I mean, that's pretty impressive so far.
If we keep at this pace, we're going to blast yesterday's number out
we
of
had
the water.
74.
That's a very good point. And we might... Do you know what? I'm actually genuinely excited to see. I feel like today might be the day that we get that Dual Force, the 7-11 moment.
Pretty good odds. If not today, probably tomorrow.
That's going to be it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
It will definitely happen.
Just a reminder that, of course, unfortunately today, due to JLo, unfortunately forfeiting their matchup, they're going to be sent home. But we'll only be bringing you 3 games today. But it's not too bad. Remember, this year we're back bigger, better than ever, like we previously said, and we'll be bringing you double the amount of broadcasts. So 1 game, unfortunately, we can't bring you due to the fact that there isn't a game. But as I say, we've got a lot of Rocket League to be bringing you. But let's have a quick brisk bracket update now and have a look at how the land lies after those games that we have just seen. You can see now, Full Metal Gaming will be taking on Splice Cheese. As you just previously mentioned, on the other side of the bracket, you can see Birds and Bees will be taking on Dingle Bell, who took down Titanium Squash in a 3-0 fashion. So 3-0s across the board there in those elimination games that we've just seen there. Now, let's talk about that game that you just mentioned there, one that you're pretty excited to see.
The Full Metal and Splice one?
Yes.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting because Full Metal definitely has a couple of things they want to work on, and Splice has to be playing well today. Kind of surprised to see them 3-0 Weast like that because Laz and Planting Cargo, they didn't play too bad yesterday.
I think after watching that game, Splice got to be seeing like those couple of infield passes that went really well against Full Metal Gaming and just going, oh yes, oh this
This is the time.
Right.
The thing that didn't work yesterday is gonna work perfectly
Yeah.
up against them. So Full Metal Gaming, they need to be on the lookout for that.
Well, Full Metal Gaming are going to be on the lookout. Splice, as you say, looks like things might be working out nicely for them, but we're going to go for a very, very quick break. When we get back, though, of course, we'll be bringing you some more Rocket League action from the Universal Open. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 minutes. Who knows?